Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. And this watch was launched in 1994 as part of a limited edition of 1,894 pieces, a Japanese domestic market exclusive. It's sometimes known as the Omega Museum Centenary for Japan, sometimes known as the Omega Renaissance 100th anniversary. What it is a lovely return to a mid-20th century Omega manual wind dress watch featuring a new old stock mid-century Omega caliber 269, part of the legendary 30mm family that ran from the late 30s through the early 60s. So the watch is absolutely gorgeous and beautifully sized. Classic to this day, 35.5 millimeters in diameter in red gold. It measures 9.9 millimeters thick and 44.9 lug-to-lug with an 18 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Of course, there were 3 different versions of this watch that were exclusives for the Japanese market, where Omega has always been favored. And this watch comes with its full original boxed set, including all of its Japanese domestic market literature in Japanese to confirm its original sale from a Japanese retailer for the Japanese market. On my wrist, which is 16 centimeters circumference, the strap is not broken in, so it's compressing my wrist massively. When I stop compressing my wrist, and the strap will break in and become soft, that's how much clearance I'm going to have on each side. So you could wear this watch convincingly as the strap softens up on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. And remember, the strap will break in. It's flat, it's low, it'll easily slide under a dress cuff. The strap is very substantial. We have small, medium, and large, symmetrical, rectangular scale alligator leather, dark blue with a gloss finish, a monotone stitch, a little bit of bolstering or stuffing to give it volume, a sheer cut edge lacquered for refinement, a matching red gold Omega pin buckle with Omega logo, and the buckle made by Boussole d'Or. As you can see, the Boussole d'Or B on there. A lovely late 40s, early 50s style case, and you can see true welded lug case construction, beautiful welding of lug to case, and then hand filing to create the sharp joint. Notice that we have vertical satination on the lugs and longitudinal on the case, polishing on the lug hoods, old-fashioned strap tool holes, and what you could do there is you can look up the guild number. See that little iron ending in 6.5? That is the case maker that built this case for Omega, and that is their guild number. Okay, you can also see that it has the pre-August 1st, 1995 Helvetic head hallmark for gold, as opposed to the later St. Bernard head. So this is a later buckle. As you can see, that St. Bernard head didn't become the Swiss precious metal hallmark until after August 1st, 1995. So you can see there is little disparity between the age of the watch and the age of the buckle. And that's not to say the buckle was added after the fact, because this watch, though made in 1994, wasn't retailed until the year 2000, and we have the paperwork to back that up. Taking a look at the case, we have a simple push-down crown with Omega logo on it, and a dramatically boxed and cambered sapphire, and it is a sapphire. We also have a lovely bezel that's got a very subtle vertical lip, and the seam between the bezel and the case is almost invisible. And then there's this polished conical profile. Taking a look at the dial, it is a lovely throwback to hallowed antiquity. Leaf-style hands for the hours and minutes, Foy style, lancet style for the seconds hand. You can see we've got a azurage or concentric patterning for the small seconds, vertical brushing on the center dial with a crosshair center. We have little cabochon indices as well as stylized radially arrayed Roman numerals, including a watchmaker's 4. We have a combination of red gold and blue accents on this dial with a chemin de fer or railroad track for reading the minutes and then a smaller one for reading the seconds. There's no hacking on this legacy movement, but it is a formidable timekeeper, partly because the 30mm series of movements were so large for wristwatch calibers. This is the diameter of, say, a Velju 7750. Actually, it's a little bit more, because it, although called a 30mm movement, is actually 30.5 in diameter. You can see very simple. Crown wheel, ratchet wheel, center wheel, And then we've got our third wheel, fourth wheel, escapement, and then a large, slow-beating balance, an enormous balance. One of the reasons this movement was such a good timekeeper is because the bigger you make the movement, because you have a center wheel architecture, you start expanding that radius. The bigger the radius of the movement, the larger the balance can be. And particularly when you have a slow beat movement like this, 18,000 vibrations per hour, the larger the balance, the more it compensates for shortcomings in the slower beat rate as a timekeeper. And big movements with big balances were timekeeping champions in the 20th century. You'd see 17 jewels. We got these lovely rose gold gilded bridges and plates with a sort of dressage or brushing across their surface. We do have bevels on the edges of the bridges. They're not as mirrored as they could be, but they are rounded and they're handsome. It's not what you're used to getting on Omega. We have lovely beveling within the jewel sinks and polished screw heads. You can also see that the regulator as well as the click have been polished, and then we have solarization on the crown wheel as well as the ratchet wheel. It winds beautifully. It sets beautifully. Again, this is a new old stock vintage caliber, so you really do get that vintage experience. Very little dead angle. Almost the second you start to turn the crown, the minute hand starts to move. 43-hour power reserve, manually wound, a beautiful watch with a 30-meter water resistance, so dress watch standard, rain and splashes only, do not submerge. And then taking a look at the case back, you can see individual numbering. 1894, the year Omega released the Omega caliber, which would later lend its name to the company that had been around for quite a few decades, dating back to the 1840s. But Omega itself was named after a movement that first debuted in 1894, with Omega finally taking up the name Omega in the first 4 years of the 20th century. A lovely watch and a real throwback. Unless you're an expert and you really know what you're looking at, this could easily be mistaken for a true vintage watch, with condition almost impossible to find on a vintage timepiece, and the authenticity of coming from the very source for the original, as well as using the exact same movement as the original. It's hard to beat. And as a full set neo-vintage watch, it's a rarity on that basis alone. Back in 1994, 1995, 2000, very few people were keeping full boxed sets. And again, the set here validates this watch as a Japanese domestic market exclusive. So reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.